Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good evening. It's March 17th, 2026, 6 p.m. or a little after 6. We'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the reorganization of the commission and elect officers.
Let us make a nomination.
I'll nominate Joe Carl as chair.
I do know Jerry Ucci had approached me for wanting to sit on the board, but I would have expected he would have shown up tonight, but
Why don't you ask for a vote on yourself and then ask for a vice chair?
okay. All in favor of electing me as chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. A nomination for vice chair.
Just, I think you all know Lauren is, now that she's a select board member, she cannot participate on this group, so
Why I'm
We
not
have-
sitting at the table.
That's why I figured.
we have a vacancy and she also was our vice chair.
Will I nominate someone?
You could.
Caroline?
Who's not here? Come on. you go there.
Yeah, that's right. We're missing a few people. We've got, I'm forgetting his first name, Pennell.
Cortland.
Portland Pennell, yeah. So
Portland's an alternate.
he's an alternate.
He's
but now
technically an alternate.
We have
Brian.
Dickinson,
Yeah, but you are missing Brian.
Brian.
Well, I nominate Brian.
Second.
Okay. So all in favor of having Brian be vice chair?
Aye.
That
That is the classic, you know. Wow.
Better show up. That's the thing.
Okay. And how many members sit on the board in total?
I was thinking, because part of reorganization is to confirm how many members you have so that you know what a quorum is. And it's, I have down that it's 6, which is, Joe, Carolyn, Hugh, Brian, Jason, and it was Lauren. So that's a vacancy, which is a little bit odd because normally you don't want an even number.
I thought it was supposed to be 7.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Duh, okay.
Okay.
So that makes sense. In my opinion, therefore, we are a 7-member board with 1 vacancy.
Yeah.
And I believe that vacancy's even been advertised. I have no idea if anyone's, okay.
Wouldn't an alternate automatically kind of?
I-
or is it-
That's is often the role of an alternate, but I don't know if Cortland has expressed an interest in being anything other than an alternate. So I guess, and appointments to the board are by the select board.
Okay.
So he'd have to communicate in a way that the select board knows that he would like to be, but it's not automatic.
Okay.
What an alternate, just not to get too wonky here, but when you have a vacancy and if the alternate shows up, then they can vote.
Okay.
If there's no vacancy, then they can't vote.
So we still have 1 spot that we need to.
Yes. But it's not our choice. It's the select board's choice.
Got it. Okay.
Although we can suggest that people that we like step forward.
We want to discuss that, what we're going to send to the select board?
I would just say that anybody here, if you know somebody that you think would be interested and would be a good fit, then just reach out to them and see if they're interested. And if they are, have them get in touch with Julie with an email. And that's how you put your name in the hat.
I'll send out an email to the crew stating that we need to put the word out.
That's true. You could do that.
I think it's on the agenda for Wednesday,
Okay.
Next Wednesday.
this Wednesday.
This
like
Oh,
tomorrow.
like tomorrow.
Like
Oh,
tomorrow, Wednesday.
Appointments, yeah.
Right.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't have anyone yet, they can Anyway,
They
whatever.
need to tell Julie that
Yeah.
they're interested.
Here he is, the new vice chair.
Brian,
Oh,
The new vice chair.
The vice chair. We just-
and you think we're joking? No, they pulled the classic move. They elected the person who wasn't here.
Yeah. So.
Unless you choose to refuse it.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late. I teach a class till 6, so I just have to.
I will say that Joe is here most of the time, and therefore you will not likely have a lot of responsibility.
Gotcha.
Julie has been struggling with illness, and she's not on the line. No, I didn't think, because she had said she would try to, but she came in this morning and then just said, I'm not doing well, and she went home. And she said, I'll try to Zoom in, but
She probably overdid it on Monday.
she's not well. I mean, you
Yeah.
just talk to her, you can tell. So, I mean, I think it's just something that flu type thing that she'll get over, but I mean, she's been,
I thought that was in the rearview mirror, because this winter, there was a lot of things going around.
you would think so.
It just went through my office, it was like picking off people one by one, and then people came.
So that's why I sent out the agenda, and that's why, anyway, that's where we're at.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've taken care of where we're at with
Yeah.
the first item on the agenda.
So Joe is chair, Brian is vice chair, we're constituted as a 7-member board, we have 1 vacancy, and the select board is.
I'm gonna send out an email to all the members of our board to think of who to nominate or to get the word out. Not to nominate, because it's up to the select board.
Or, yeah, that they should, put their name forward.
Okay, so that satisfies item 1. Number 2, item 2, approve minutes from the previous meeting. Do we have anyone that would like to make a motion to approve the meetings from last week or last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Citizen comments?
Yeah, we have 2 citizens.
No comments.
It's been a pleasure to be on the housing commission.
Yeah, we will miss you.
Sorry to have
And
to go.
I will come around when I can. And, pay attention when I can on Tuesday nights, but I will miss being here on a regular basis.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You've always had thoughtful comments here, for the year that I've been here, Lauren, so thank you for that.
This has been a journey of, and I've said this before, you feel like we're not going anywhere, but we really are. They're baby steps. And it was nice to hear that, it was mentioned that we are way ahead of many other towns in our little journey. So that's good. So, we're done with citizen comments. On to item 4, local options tax defeat, next steps. I saw that, and I apologize, I really should have been better prepared for that. I didn't see that coming, the outcome. But I do know I read somewhere that it took a nearby town 3 attempts to put it before the public. So swing and miss. We'll try again.
I did read just today, in fact, the League of Citizen Towns had some discussion about things, and they said that 13 municipalities approved local options taxes this year, so the total in Vermont now is up to 50. But we were one of the ones that did not. And I didn't see that coming either. The select board certainly had it up in front for like 3 months, and there were certain people that just saved their unhappiness about it for that meeting. Yeah.
What I would like to do is start to catalog, not only from Ludlow, but meet up with some businesses and say, has this affected your bottom line?
Yeah.
And get testimonials.
Yeah.
Which I should have done before the meeting, but I didn't. Again, I will.
Well, I was thinking that if, you have 20/20 hindsight, and yes, we should have reached out more specifically to the most affected business members, but oh well.
I mean, the thought of, and you mentioned that you're not gonna decide to drive to Bellows Falls to grab a coffee and a muffin over 5 cents or 10 cents.
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
Take you $10 to drive on.
Right.
And if that were the case, since Ludlow and Springfield have it, we would have seen such an influx of business
Right.
rushing.
Yeah.
Right.
Chester to see that.
Right.
So I guess in the absence of Julie being here, when it comes to next steps, I mean, I don't know what next steps are about whether we try to pass the tax. And it's just that we are getting the income that's around 24,000 a year from the short-term rentals. And the at least informal signal from the select board is just the things that we need, we ask them. And if they're beyond what's that 24,000, they'll consider putting it in. I mean, there were some people at the meeting who said it would be fairer to have it on the property tax, which I'm like, really? But that's what they said.
Well, yeah, so to piggyback off that, I mean, the message was clear. Everybody felt that we needed housing. They didn't want that to be funded by the options tax. But if it turns out that we think the options tax is going to be sort of a non-starter, then we should be looking at other ways to fund the housing trust fund, whether that be a line item in the budget that hits everybody's property taxes, or whether that be something else. We can't probably rely on assuming that someday we'll get the options tax through, because, you know, that might not work out.
I mean, it's the difference is it's a use tax versus, right, a
I don't
flat
know.
property tax. So
Yeah, property tax.
But there's still, there's winter mineral funds, which we got a long time ago that's sitting in there. And there's the development funds that are sitting there. So one's 200 and the other one's a little over 3. You know, and they're both right now sitting.
so that'll get us, I truly think it will pass, but we only get one shot a year at it, correct?
It was pretty close. I mean, it really wasn't, I was
Well,
surprised that it didn't pass, but I thought,
of course, the select board has to make this decision. It could be put on a special meeting agenda, but it's just, people might cry foul, but it
Yeah.
could be done. The other thing is that there were people saying it would be fairer to have it by Australian ballot, but that could put it 2 years away, because you have to vote at town meeting whether to switch to Australian ballot. So,
I think the people that I talked to, I think it's not necessarily the money as much as it is kind of a reading the room tone thing. I feel like people feel really taxed to death. Groceries are
Yeah.
high, gas is now rising. Like, I feel like there just wasn't a mood for it.
Totally
There
agree
could
with
be.
that.
yeah.
It was
Totally agree with
it
that.
was a very emotional mood, and there was kind of there's no such thing as a good tax kind of thing, and it was, yeah.
I was told, and I would want to verify this, that Ludlow raises almost $660,000.
Yep, they had
Wow.
that in, one of the papers. I sort of, and of course, they are
And they're doing a more broad.
dumping cash. It's obviously.
But they're doing sales as well,
Right,
Oh, they
and
are.
yeah,
It's on,
Retail.
oh, wow.
but
Yeah.
not groceries.
Yeah.
but
retail-
when you also think of Jackson Gore and everywhere
Oh,
else,
yeah.
all of those things, you know.
And the tax.
So even on clothing.
I
Wow.
believe so, yeah. Whereas we were trying to
Oh, yeah.
narrow it
No, I
down.
don't think, I mean, the thing is, you have to buy food. You have to live somewhere. You need clothes, but you don't have to. I mean, meals out are somewhat of a luxury. So
Yeah.
it's an option for you not to go if this is a problem, or if, you know, things are tight.
You know-
And I'm not saying it's fine or that it doesn't mean anything, but it is something that's not clothing. I think clothing, it starts to get into.
I think the word tax.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
was, I mean,
Yeah.
you say the word tax, there
It's
are,
like, no.
there are a whole bunch of people who just stop.
Yeah, there were several people that just said, I'm
Yeah.
categorically against any new tax.
And I
But
think-
then they are saying, well, if you need the money, get a line item in the
Yes.
budget.
So,
You're
and
like,
another one.
And I think that is true, because then you know, once half the people left the room,
Yeah.
you saw that people are very happy to say, you're asking for this specific thing. Yes, yes. Now, asking for $30,000 is different than asking for 3,000. But I also thought that it would have been good for people to hear that what you do if you don't allow the options tax is that you make sure that everybody in Chester will equally pay for this when it goes forwards, rather than to the point of, but it's all local people are the ones doing this. Well, you make sure that only local people pay for it. With the local options tax, some local people are gonna pay for it when they go out to eat, but so will some people who are here as
Yeah.
tourists. And I think though that a whole lot of people just weren't listening. I thought part of what also turned because this really was a difference of what, 9 or 10 people. It was 17 people. If 9 people had voted differently,
Yeah.
would have gone the other way, was once some people who didn't seem to be sure heard the 25 cents on every dollar was going to go to the state.
Yeah, they don't
Then
like
they
that.
would know.
Yeah.
And it didn't
It's like a
matter
double
that there
whammy.
would be
Yeah.
75 cents on every dollar coming here.
Yeah.
I don't care. I will
Yeah.
pay that dollar
Then
myself
we're also,
as long as
Yeah, you're
25
right
cents
about
will
that.
go to Mount.
Right.
You're right about
we
that.
were scared that it would have passed just by yay and nay. So that's why they wanted to switch it to the ballot. Because strange things happen when no one knows how you're gonna vote.
I've had more than a few people walk into the candy shop and talk about what happened at the town meeting. I didn't go. And I didn't go because I knew it was gonna be a heated argument because I'd heard both sides and I was like, But I've heard a lot of people say, tax, we don't need to be taxed anymore. And that was the biggie. But then the 25 cents out of every dollar that stays in Montpelier, they're like, why?
The house gets the cut.
Well, I mentioned this article that talked about how there were 13 new communities that joined on. That 25%, some of it goes for the state's cost in administering the tax. Some of it goes for what's called payment in lieu of taxes, which is the tax bills for state-owned properties that towns are running. But this article was saying there's enough money left over that they're thinking of distributing it back to towns to help them with their highway.
Yeah, that's right, I heard
We
that.
don't need money for highways here.
So,
No, it'll be a dirt road through town
It
in no
was-
time. Wait a little longer.
at the time it was set at 25%. There were people that had said, that's too high. I mean, you're telling the towns, yeah, you can have this tax, but we're going to keep a quarter of it. But anyway, that's how it is.
Can I ask a maybe naive question? I could probably Google it, but this area is pretty new to me.
Yeah.
Do the second homeowners pay less in taxes?
It depends. It used to be the non-residential education tax rate was higher than the residential education tax rate, which caused non-residents to pay a little more taxes each year. This year, it's either even or it's flipped a little.
That can happen I've seen it change.
It's all driven by the education tax rate that gets established by the state. And
And it all has to do with whether you declare a homestead or not.
That's the biggest, so when someone asks that question, you can say, in some cases, the second homeowners don't. But there are times when someone files a homestead, if they're making below, what's the threshold, 70 grand?
115.
It's 115 now. If they're making below 115, they can file a prebate to get money back. So then they definitely would be taxed less than a
Right.
second home. So it's not a given across the board. It changes from
It does
town to town
change.
and it changes within the town.
And this is another thing that some people will yell about taxes, but there's a fair number of folks that get rebates. And they can be fairly significant. Depends on your income.
I didn't know it climbed that high.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think in terms of next steps, I think that's all there is to say is that, Julie's message is don't worry that the select board's committed to seeing housing going forward, and we'll figure out a way to pay for the things that we need to pay for. It's not quite as nice as having a guaranteed stream, but it's, anyway.
Can we break it down to a column of options tax versus a column, and what that would the estimate of what it would bring us? And then compare how it would affect someone's tax bill if we were gonna take that same amount of money and put it as a line item?
We could try. One issue we have is that the state won't give us really good data because we're small enough that they say it's too proprietary. That's why we were estimating, we thought we'd get 60,000. We don't really know. I know because I live in Woodstock that they get 250 to 300,000, Ludlow 600. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, it has to do with the level of economic activity. And Chester is, we've been only estimating, we don't really know exactly what we get. I was hoping it would be more than 60, but I didn't want to be held to. Right. And the other thing is that we did choose not to include retail sales.
Is it not possible to raise taxes for second homeowners?
Yeah,
The state voodoo.
Yeah, that's well. If you no, Chester can't. If you're talking about globally, there has definitely been some discussion at the legislature about how we could tax second homeowners higher. As Joe probably knows, the real estate community doesn't like that idea, and there are others that say, from a fairness point of view, your second homeowners are only getting a road going by their house and nothing else in services, and yet, they have to pay quite a bit. But it's that whole idea that also, we who live here have to put up with second homeowners, and why don't you make them pay? Yeah.
What are we getting out of the increased transfer tax? Isn't that to go toward affordable housing?
No,
To buy a house today, you're paying as a out-of-stater 3.62% of the purchase price. I mean, I thought it was going to tank. It went from 1.45 to 3.62.
Wow. That's
And
a lot
I
of
thought it was
money.
going to be finally the golden goose died, and people, they're like, eh.
Wow.
And if you're,
When did that take place?
so it was a year, and it was July when it passed, so it would have been
Yeah, I don't know.
last July, maybe.
I don't know what's happening with that.
I don't know where that money goes. I haven't heard any.
Find out, but
I haven't heard of any pot of money being offered. So for affordable housing.
You're talking
the
about the property
go ahead,
transfer
Jason.
If you're talking about the property transfer tax, the I don't know specifically the answer, Joe, to your question, but a lot of that goes to the Vermont housing folks. A chunk of it funds regional planning commissions. A chunk of it funds municipal planning grants, and there's something else that I'm not thinking of, but a lot of it goes to those areas, which does help pay for housing related things.
Actually, Jason, now that you remember, I think I did read about how some of that would go to regional commissions. So you think it's VHCB, Vermont Housing Conservation Board, perhaps?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, because they're a grant making entity.
Yep.
Yeah.
So regional planning commission's base planning funding has always come out of that fund. So that's just a portion of it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's helpful. And that sounds like what the legislature would do. Yeah.
And there is a bill this year, if it helps, that's talking about increasing municipal planning grant funding for at least the next 2 years to help towns do more housing planning work. So we'll see if that passes.
Well, that's right where we're at. I mean, we've got some properties and we need to figure out how to pay to start doing the planning, and that's right where we're at.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Brian, the only thing I can add to the discussion about, doing something different with second homeowners is there is legislation that's somewhere in the pipeline to kind of overhaul the tax system and move it from a town based to more of a region or district based. Part of that legislation would also create new property classifications. None of this is done yet, so they're still just talking about it, but one of the classifications would be a way to single out second homeowners from non-second homeowners. And if that classification system goes forward, then it would create the mechanism if you wanted to do something different. Right now, there's really no way for anybody to know if this one's a second home and this one's not. It's just kind of not set up that way.
Shall we move on to the next item?
Yeah, and with Julie not here, I'll just say with the M&S development, we got a proposal from them, and you've seen it. And I think Julie and I both were kind of, it says a lot of nice things, but it's not really clear what the deliverables are. And it is 35 grand. And if we had a kind of a guaranteed income stream, we could say, yeah. But now that we have to kind of justify to the select board, we're just feeling that maybe we need to go back to them and say, we need some more specific deliverables, or even you has said, give us some samples of deliverables you did with other customers.
Consultants do that all the time. They've
Yeah.
done this engagement for a dozen towns already somewhere. So just send us a copy of what you gave those towns so we can look at it and see if it's got enough detail to do any good for.
We want to ask for a good and a bad.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah. Because that's really, because the usual case is that if you looked at the bottom, they didn't say anything, but they talked about project management, building it out. Now that's the golden goose that they're after, because it used to be our MO that we had a fee, but if we built the project, that fee was free. So you spend a lot of time, so you did a lot of development work. But you were after the golden goose, which was the project.
Yeah, so my gut feeling is with this particular engagement, whether the project moves forward or doesn't move forward,
Costs the same amount of money.
it costs you the same amount of money. I don't think if it moves forward, they kind of give you a rebate on that phase one consulting, but I mean, I didn't think about that. I guess it would be possible.
Yeah.
You're definitely not getting your money back if it's a no-go, and if it is a go, you're probably still not getting your money back because it's.
Well, then it's usually usually it's a percentage after that. You're gonna have a percentage of what the overall contract is.
You know, one example, I'd like to share this with you just so you can kind of percolate on it. That M&S development, when we had our phone interview with them, they kind of said, well, this is one thing we've done. We're always kind of scrapping for, federal tax credits. We might not get the queue for 5 years. And, money from VHCB, money from the treasurer, but they're very competitive. And so they said, well, you could do a senior housing project that you fund through the market. Unfortunately, it takes about $400,000 to build a condo nowadays. But if you had a developer that owned it long term and charged rents, that seniors, because there's this whole gap, we're all getting older, where we make too much money to move into senior housing, but can't find something we can afford to downsize. But if you can sell your house and swing maybe $2,000 a month rent, that can actually pay off, and then you don't need to use subsidies at all.
So it's market rate.
Yeah.
Senior housing.
Yeah.
And their supposition is that, and mileage may vary, but their supposition was if a senior sold their house for $400,000 or $500,000 or whatever it is, maybe that's a little high around here, but some parts of Vermont, that's what it is. And you take that $400,000 and invest it and get 4 or 5%, you can take the investment returns and pay the rent, live comfortably in market rate senior housing without touching the principal of the sale of the house. Now, whether that's really true, that was the story in the discussion we
That
had.
was one scenario they had said we can work out for you.
So,
Again, I keep saying I live in Woodstock. I have a modest house, but it's almost 1,000 a month just for taxes. We're around 11,000 now. I mean, it's getting pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And then you pay insurance, you pay heat, you pay electricity, you pay maintenance, and so the thought of moving in for, say, a 2,000 a month rent is not outrageous, when you look at what you're paying right now. So anyway, I just want to get that thought out there because, Julie and I talk about it. We keep saying we got to do something. We got to get something off the ground here. And, we have someone like Kathy Hasbrook who has a piece of land, but no one's really figured out how to make the numbers work. And,
She's not talking market though. Isn't she trying to do,
and you're absolutely right. I have no idea,
yeah.
this is televised. I know Kathy well. I don't think she would be upset, but I mean, no, we haven't discussed this with her, and that isn't,
Right.
and she would, her heart is in subsidized housing, yes.
The only thing I would say about selling the house, I think I brought this up the last meeting I was at, for $400,000 is wonderful, but that's not your young first-time
Right.
buyer. That's somebody
That's
who's
right.
coming in and buying a second home or moving up.
Right.
So that first-time buyer or affordable buyer is being left out.
And I do want to be very clear, because we had said we need both. We need some
Right.
senior housing, but we need young people. So you're absolutely right. It doesn't help the young people trying to come down. Other than the fact that whatever house you sell,
yeah, I mean, unless it's one of those scenarios where the person moves out of their starter home, buys the $500,000 house, and then the starter home goes on the market.
Right.
That's how it used to work in the old days.
Well, I keep telling people that, from my perspective, the first-time buyers are the ones at the bottom of the pyramid. They're the ones that are the building blocks, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And when you get them, when they're gone,
Yeah.
the whole thing collapses on itself,
But
unfortunately.
I do completely agree with you that one of the goals we've set here in Chester over and over is we just want to make it affordable for people to start. And so, yeah, we haven't figured that out yet.
What you're saying, I think, is a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Just,
I think it has the advantage if you say you're building senior housing and it's
Yeah.
going to be that there isn't necessarily going to be the automatic, what does that mean, affordable housing and what about mixed use? And if it's market rate too, I think, not everyone's maybe going to be able to sell their house and live there, but it does take away some of that. And if that could then generate, first of all, if a project is successful, that's just great.
Almost
because-
any project.
Yes, right. I mean, it's just like get the momentum going.
That's part of where I started is just, I cast it out saying, to get any project going, that's one that if it were penciled correctly, wouldn't have to wait in the queue for some kind of state or federal money.
And also, I do think people are holding on because it doesn't make sense to, they might reduce where they're living to, a first floor or something, but there isn't really an option to go.
I've reached the point in life where I wouldn't be too sad to sell my house, but again, we don't. My wife in particular doesn't want to leave Woodstock. Well, there's nowhere else I can
Yeah,
afford. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to stay in this area and
Yeah.
sell your house, but there isn't
Yeah.
really very much. You can move maybe, I don't know, Springfield, but
Yeah.
that's.
I had a rental agent a year and a half ago now, local rental agent who came in, see me, just to talk, and she was frustrated because the local real estate office had sold 2 different homes of older women, and they got big money, and they were thrilled to get the big money, but they wanted to stay in Chester, and they didn't want to leave, wanted to buy, they wanted to rent something. They couldn't find anything. They put everything in storage and had to leave town. Cool.
Yeah.
Very frustrated and very upset. And she was scouring and looking everywhere. And the only thing she could find was an Airbnb for $5,000 a month, which they were like, no, I don't think so.
Right.
Just as there's funds and organizations that subsidize farms, there's nothing out there that helps turn a house sold at market value, subsidized, but that house becomes affordable housing. There's no organization out there that does that.
Well, the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board, when it was set up such that it did farmland conservation and housing in one agency. It split the amount, which is, I know when I worked for the Vermont Land Trust, yeah, our biggest go-to for protected farms was the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board. I probably am going to have to figure out more what they do on the housing side, because people that have come to us always say go for the federal tax credits. They don't say go apply to VHCB. So,
Well, there's this movement, I think we were talking about it a few meetings ago, about dividing the big old into multiple units. So these rambling long, there was money, and there was someone up north that was doing it. That was like his pet thing. He was making huge homes into three-bedroom, three-bedroom.
Yeah. And item 7, which is the VHIP program, is one that does pay for renovating units in existing housing, and we'll get to that. It's competitive and chronically underfunded, as all of these programs seem to be. But anyway, that's later in the agenda, so I will just try to get to that when we get to it.
So we've satisfied and talked about items 5 and 6, and we're on to item 7.
I know 6. Julie's hoping that you will make a decision tonight. I did send out an email that we've been looking for a market study, because we're told that that's one of the things you need to have to get funding from VHCB or other groups. And the approved appraiser list has been shrunk because appraisers are retiring, and there were 5 of them. Only one ended up giving us a quote, and the quote was for $8,000. And so Julie said, if we say yes, she will go to the select board on April 1 and ask for that money. The other thing is that we may be able to get some of that paid for by VHCB. So
Preston, my 2 cents on that. That firm did a similar study for the West Windsor housing group, and it was good. I think it's helpful. I think it's not a lot of money. I think it's worth doing. They got some good information out of it, some good data, things like that. So I think it's very much worth doing.
So it was 8,000. Yeah, you saw that. Which is, I mean, West Windsor hired them too.
Yeah, I think theirs was 6,000. So I don't know what the deal is there, but nonetheless, I think it's worth doing.
Yeah. So
This would be, just to clarify, this would be site specific at the water tower site?
Yes, it would be site specific at the water tower site. What I've been told is that market studies have to be site specific. However, if we do a market study at the water tower that says we can sell, I threw out just 38 units on 10 acres, because that's kind of, Julie said, I don't want to go bigger than that for a first phase. But if Kathy comes forward, or the Allard property comes forward, number one, you can say they're right next door, but also you could probably pay the appraiser a small amount to say, just recycle all of your data to say it also fits this property. So that's what we've been told, is that we need to do something site specific, that it can't just be, there is something called a needs assessment, but that's not what we're told that we should get. We should get a market analysis.
Once we verify that it would be an extra fee to massage the data.
I can, as you saw, the appraiser just sent us a figure and just said, I'd charge $8,000 for this. I was planning, if we are going forward, to send him a message and say, send us a contract, because that's what they do. And I can definitely ask that question.
So do we need to call for a motion to?
Yeah, make a motion and vote.
That's what Julie would like.
Is it a market study for sale or for rent, or just in general for that site?
I believe it's more in general. There's a little bit of a market analysis that comes with these things. So
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to suggest or to recommend that we move forward on this.
I'll second the motion.
Made and seconded. I don't know if I guess I didn't put it in there. I did in my email, say that that would be affordable under the, LICP program, which is the federal tax credit. So, yeah. He's done it before. He seems to know what he needs to do.
How long does that take? Do you have any idea?
The good news about this guy, he said he's about 5 weeks out in his work.
So we had a second motion, so all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. And that would, since we do have some money in our fund from the short-term rentals, will come out of that.
I mean, it seems like pulling a Band-Aid off, so we have to make a move at some point.
That's how I feel like. I feel like we're kind of, we got a lot of things, but we're still kind of spinning and stalled.
Yeah.
And even if everybody's telling us this is one of the hoops you gotta jump through, so let's jump through the hoop. Hopefully it gets us to take the next step somehow, somewhere. Right? 'Cause we're not-
We have had several people say that this is something you have to do. So, yeah. Oh, I guess Jason had to go.
Okay, on to item 7, the VHIP grant application period.
Yeah, I just put that in there because VHCP is a very nice program. It can pay up to $50,000 to renovate space for ADUs. And I've mentioned that Sue Bailey, who you probably all know, did one for her garage. And then there's a woman named Joanne Ehrenhaus who lives in the Stone Village, although her house is not stone, but it's who did an apartment in her unit using that money. So we've had two that have done it. That program was on hold and had been on hold for a long time, but we're getting some indication that the date will come up.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that this doesn't require a vote, but I would be happy to have any suggestions. Is that we should probably try to get some kind of a press release in the Telegraph and the Journal and put it on our own Chester, Vermont town office saying, you know, this grant may open up and you should be prepared if you want to do it. The other thing is that Kathy says she might want to do it, Hasbrook. A guy named Tom Simmons on Popple Dungeon Road has asked us to alert him when it happens. And then we were even thinking of someone like Tim Crosby. So if you have other people that you think should know about this program.
I went to it's kind of brokered through Wyndham and Windsor Housing Trust for our area, but on their webpage, you know, there was like, just in Windsor County, 118 projects under this first generation of this program. So it seems like it does have some, you know, it does generate some interest because it can be rehabbing. You know, if you have an old, you know, broken down rental property and you want to try to help fund getting it fixed up so it can generate revenue, it's for that. You can use it for ADUs. I think you can even use it for new construction. So as long as you don't mind the restrictions that are going to come along with it.
Which are, I think, significant.
They are significant,
You know,
but
so,
they
I
do
mean,
have a lifetime. It's either a 5-year or a 10-year lifetime. So you get to pick.
Yeah.
But
Both Joanne Ehrenhaus and Sue Bailey have said they were pleased with the program. They're glad they did it. They didn't, you know, telegraph like this was a big mistake. I think they both kind of believe in the goals. You have to sort of believe in the goals, but I think they felt that they were able to get the work done, that it worked out fairly well, that and in 5 or 10 years, I mean, you get more money if you go for 10 years than if you go for 5, but in 5 or 10 years, they do have that ability to rented at market rate.
Right.
So there it is.
I think there's more money, too available if it's in, ADA. So if you're
Yes.
looking at, fully accessible.
And then originally they tried to make these, meaning the legislature, tried to make these units exempt from Division of Fire Safety Inspection, but Division of Fire Safety didn't go for that.
No, but we can do short-term rentals instead under 8.
I know, but we can do the
Yeah.
short-term rentals. So, but I can say in Sue Bailey's case, because it was an apartment over a garage, they only inspected the garage. In Joan Ehrenhaus's case, because it was inside the house, they said, well, we have to inspect the whole house. And she was very nervous, but fortunately they just kind of said, you know, you got a stair rail, you need to do better, and you need some fire extinguishers and some CO2 detectors, and that was it. So she was relieved. When it gets expensive is when you don't have enough egress, you know, and you've got to start cutting walls.
Well, it's ironic, you can, if you have a single family home, you self-certify sleep up to 8. If you're tied into the fire department and have all your egress, GFCI, handrails, spindles, they may give you a sleep 10, but they will never, at least currently, go over 10 without a sprinkler. Now, take the same house, turn it into a duplex, and you can sleep 8 on one side and 8 on the other. The minute you cross over and make it a 3-plex, then it's, you're back to sprinklers and all sorts of other stuff.
Sometimes with the duplex, they require double sheetrock between them.
Well, yeah, there's some
Things like that, which if you don't know in advance, it's a surprise. So it's just, that's not your worry, but it's certainly for Hugh and me, we need to kind of tell people that, just be aware. If you're going to apply for this program, you're going to see the state inspector. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Unless you have any other suggestions, I guess it's just a job for us to do, is that we'll try to get the word out. And yeah.
Okay, on to item 8, new business. A piece of land caught my eye that we had, I think, talked about right in the beginning of forming this. That's the 12-acre parcel on Couch Road, sorry. So it's up behind Erskine's. Yep. And Coach. And if I researched, it's in the zone that, what do they call, Tier 1.
It's in the NDA.
They had a different name for it, and it caught me off guard, and I had to research what it was. Now, if I got it correct, the minimum lot size is 1/5 of an acre.
Yeah, now, right.
It's now 3?
No. It's Omar Austin's, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that, it's the.
Yes.
12
Yes,
acres
exactly.
behind the house.
Yeah. So I don't have my laptop, but
That was a piece that I've walked that several times, and
that's where I saw it.
That's super good piece, because the sewer there's already a sewer line underneath the railroad tracks. The water line is actually right over in Coach Road, so the water and sewer is like there already.
So to give you an idea of where this is, the town trails is this parcel here. So if you take the Brook Trail and hike up, this actually would have access to it.
Right.
I mean, what a great thing for.
Right.
Now, if I did my math correct, you could build a tiny town there.
You could really build a tiny town. The only thing that you have to be careful of is the lower part by the railroad track. No, it's got a friggin' huge deer herd that live there.
Oh.
It's a huge deer herd. It looks like my barnyard.
Deer yard.
And
Well, it's more than
Yeah.
that. They're quite crowded. They're very happy there. No one can hunt in the village limits.
Oh, so they all come in town.
Yeah, they'll come in town.
can you shoot from the train tracks?
Well, no, and the hillside is covered with golf balls.
Golf balls?
Golf balls, yeah.
From the budding neighbor that has the pond.
From Omar up the top years
Oh.
ago. There used to be cattle there. A lot of it's open. It used to be a pasture.
So my math, and I'm not a proponent maxing anything out, but I was like, wait a minute, what? And I double checked it. You could actually get 58 units in there.
Oh, yeah, small, yeah. It's a good, I've been pushing that for a while, yes.
That's on for 170 something. Of course, you're going into Act 250 and there'd be a lot of
The
permitting.
tier 1A comes in.
Tier 1B, it's 50 units or less on 10 acres or less.
You only have to do a single phase.
Was that lot over 10 acres?
It was 12.
You'd have to subdivide.
I mean, talk about an opportunity for the town to.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I've been hot on that parcel and making sure the zoning gets changed for quite a while. I've walked the whole thing. I took Kathy Hasbrook and I walked it a while ago too.
Have you been up there, Joe?
No, but I've done the hiking trails.
It has a fantastic view, which means that
But
I
it's-
could imagine some wealthy person.
But the thing is about it
Wanting to-
is
wanting
if you were to develop it like this, a lot of people don't look at it, but you're gonna be right in town.
Well, you're right. People wouldn't.
You can't
See
see
it.
it.
The current driveway up to it is got some steep. steep at the
Yeah, but you
bottom.
can play that out.
Yeah.
That's all, it's all doable once you get on there and you can do lower in phases and higher, because,
Well, anyway, yeah. no.
no, I'm,
So
Yeah.
how do we, I mean, that is more plausible than the sand pit.
oh, yep.
And I'd like to sell a chunk of that land and then buy this, it would be better off for the town.
And you know who the seller is?
I don't know.
But please.
Police chief is selling.
It's Tom Williams' land.
He bought it from the last go round.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see Williams, but I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I would go speak to Tom. Yeah.
I mean,
See, if you were,
Tom had a dream of building a house there, and it just the construction alone was going to be like $1 million, and so
Wow.
they decided to buy a piece of an already built house in Springfield. So I don't know how generous he would be in selling it, but I can, because he needs to pay for the house that he's going to buy. But I can say it is someone we know,
Yeah.
someone who's not hostile.
Well, the thing is, one of the things, I don't know how it got covered on the agenda, that what Julie was supposed to bring back to the select board and you were gonna decide was how you were gonna ask for money. See, because I look at it in the world of money that could be available to do something, it's high as this cash is 600,000. So I mean, if you were to say, we're gonna take the Windsor Mineral Funds, which are $200,000 that we got forever ago, and you could buy this piece and then we would have something to develop for the whole town right here.
Wow.
Bingo, I pop that in a heartbeat. But I'm not a member of this board and I'm only one select board member,
I think you get some traction at the select.
Even if you shot, well, the deer yards would totally affect it if they're classified as deer yards, but even if you got 24 units or 20 units.
Well, you don't want to start big. You're gonna go across the bottom because the road's not that expensive and then build off and just plan. You're gonna phase it.
But exactly, it's just to see the.
Sell the
need.
worst lots first.
That's the rule. Do we want to make a motion to ask the town to consider the purchase out of the mineral funds?
Well, I think that you gotta come a little closer to that because you didn't get it on the agenda. So you're kind of into new business for the next meeting. If you wanted to have an emergency meeting and put it up there, then it's a whole nother story. But one of the things that, to get back off of that, was how you were gonna ask for money from the select board. How you were gonna do it, because they talked about it, when you proposed a budget for it, because you don't know, it's like a project like this, you wouldn't say, well, if you gave us $200,000 for this, for instance, somebody doing a market study or something like that, now it's gonna leverage. We wouldn't have to pay the whole amount and that thing could leverage itself right along. But you have to, you need to tell the select board how you want to ask for money. That was the big item that was kind of like playing out. And I kept saying that it was gonna have to be, like this, one item at a time when it came up. But we need to hear that from you because you're the board that's asking for the money.
Right. And if I follow you correctly, we put a presentation together for the next select board meeting.
You'd have to make, well, you didn't put it on this agenda. So you'd have to get, because you're talking new business. So it's gotta be, you need to have another meeting to get that on the agenda.
Okay.
You know, then, because then it's public and then you can kick it up from there. But I'd go lean on the police chief and tell him
So-
how cute his dog is.
Talk to him.
This is not, no, when Julie talked to me, she didn't phrase it the way you did, Peter, but that's neither here nor there. We can call what's called a special meeting with 2 days' notice. So, I mean, if you were to say we want to meet next Tuesday,
But-
we could do that.
Yeah,
And it would be
April
legal, it'd be on the
1st is the
agenda,
next.
it would be,
Right.
and then shoot for the select board meeting on April 1, if that's
Right.
what you want to do.
Right,
We're talking about pulling the Band-Aid off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
right. And this is, I've walked that piece. It's been one of the ones that it's, yeah. You know, because it's so walkable.
Walkable to the store
Yeah.
to get your groceries.
I mean, you can walk over the hill to the green. It's, people are always walking the loop around Church Street. It's a huge positive place. Yeah, there you go. Right. You're within even the old village limits.
So
Wow.
do we call for a motion to file a special meeting?
March 24.
You don't need a motion for that. You can just schedule it.
Yeah, it's new business.
You have a motion to set up the meeting? Okay.
I don't, have to make sure everyone agrees and is ready, but whether it's a motion or not a motion, I mean, well, I think the chair can call a meeting, yeah.
Do I put the all in favor out for it?
Why don't you do it? Just
Yeah.
in case.
All in favor of us scheduling a special meeting to discuss with the select board the purchase of this?
Well, this would,
This would be free.
just a pre-meeting of us.
Pre-meeting of us, sorry.
Yeah.
All in favor of a pre-meeting of us?
Fine.
Aye.
6 p.m. next Tuesday. We will do that. Find out from you what wording I should put on the agenda, but yeah.
Well,
But it would be a discussion specifically of considering this particular
that particular
property
parcel, right.
and whether we would recommend to the select board that they,
'Cause
purchase it.
This would be different than asking for the market study.
Yeah.
Because, here is a piece that,
Yeah.
for instance, I know you can build on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, we keep putting all our hopes on the town property up behind Drew's, and I just think
There's
that
so much into
Right.
that. It's always, that's a daunting, location. I mean, just the grading.
The grade, yeah, they get
Well-
the road in there, it's the albatross that hangs. on
you have to do some swap of land with the school, which I think they would do, but think of how long it would take and the
Right.
legal bills and the different votes of both entities, and then you gotta build this road that's not cheap.
Not cheap, no, even if you work the.
And
gravel
you
out, it's
have
not
to
cheap.
engineer the road. You
Right.
can't
And that was the
just-
same.
Very different matter.
And then you have to engineer the water and sewer lines.
Right,
And this would, with this square foot, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Now you're talking a blend of what we said from the beginning, some tiny houses, some parcels could be retained by the town and
Right.
rented
Yeah.
out, some could be parcels that were purchased.
right, you sell the top lot for $180,000.
Oh, yeah.
And very walkable, more so probably than out by the high school.
Right.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking about as we're having this discussion is if you're gonna go make a pitch to the select board to buy a piece of land, would you make a pitch for, because other discussions we had, and maybe it's not as good land, maybe it wouldn't be our first choice, but there's that land that where that house burned down, where the Hearst house was.
That was.
You wanna
bought
buy that
by
too?
Gilchrist. Yeah.
No, because you can't get enough units on it.
The one right down by the old estate, right in town by the elementary.
Yeah, you can't get enough units on it.
There's that concern about the.
That was the same, that's the same price. It's almost the same price.
It's like, that's a couple acres, isn't it? Very small.
Not even.
Yeah. And then they had been dumping all the. So I think it would come up with, it could
Oh.
potentially be,
Yeah,
like, I've heard that there was like literally a drain in the floor.
yeah, I hadn't heard that,
I don't
but
think I'd heard that. That's what I think.
I hear someone saying, you know what they do, but I haven't done a soil test, so.
Who knows? That's the pros.
That's true.
Chief Williams, the best.
Right, I mean, you're gonna have to go through the steps like you talked about before, that, you know, you're gonna have to go get the lot appraised. You're only gonna be able to pay the appraised amount if you go through doing the whole loan 9 yards, but the town could buy it outright.
then you wonder if Linda and Omar would have a bit, I don't know, no idea.
They're not there anymore.
They're not living in the other house?
There's a trailer at the top of the hill. They were in the
Trailers for sale.
Trailers for sale, yeah, so they're done. Omar couldn't, last time that I talked to Omar, he couldn't walk, and Linda had cancer.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I didn't know that. All right. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about they being upset having to share their driveway with a bunch of people.
No,
so-
that's the parcel that is.
Yeah, okay. Well, it was subdivided. Well, anyway, all right. Tom Williams, since none of you seem to be too close to him, it's probably you and I have to figure this out. Or Julie.
Right.
We'll figure something out.
Does he have it listed with an agent or is it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Okay.
let's be realistic. It's already on the market. Tom probably wants to move quickly, so it's not a slow burn on this one, so.
It just came on within the week or so.
No, Tom did come in and talk to us at some length about the house he is buying in Springfield, and yes, it was like he wanted to sell this to help him pay for that
He's had a house listed in
in
Baltimore.
Baltimore, yes. He is living in Baltimore now.
That has not just, the price point up there just didn't seem to gain any traction, and it's been off the market, but here and over there.
He's gonna want to sell that too.
Adrian's the chair of the school board,
Yes, she's.
so they're still in Baltimore.
Any other new business or ideas for the next agenda?
So we will plan on this special meeting, although if we have conversations with Julie and Tom and it becomes moot, we'll let you know, but
Right.
we'll, other than that, we'll plan on the
Yep.
meeting.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
How exciting. Anyway.
Dinner.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We'll do it all.
Yeah?
We do. All in
Yeah.
favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Good evening.
Yeah.